Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com here with an amazing Templar PvP build, and I finally figured it out, something that's fun, survivable, has tons of damage, and is pretty easy to play. With this build, I'm going to run down kind of what the Templar uses, why, gear, skills, champion points, and everything else. I've won BX with it, played Battlegrounds, Open Fields, Cyrodiil, and the Templar, believe it or not, is a lot of fun and very, very effective without using biting jabs. Let's jump right in and show you what we're using and why. So what's new with the Templar? Well, if you don't know, Update 35 completely gutted biting jabs as a skill. This no longer hits very hard. In fact, it hits like an absolute noodle. I was trying to make the Templar work with biting jabs and was completely frustrated, couldn't stand it, and absolutely benched this class for over 3 months while I pouted and buried my Templar in my back of my house. But I got over it and said, okay, well, if biting jabs doesn't work, what does the Templar still have that's absolutely disgusting and filthy? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's Dawn's Wrath, you know, Radiant Glory. This is Bean. So we're going to play a melee Templar, kind of a hybrid, stacking stamina so we can do a lot of dodge rolls, break free, and have some mobility, while using a little bit more ranged abilities with dual wield. And we're not going to use biting jabs. It doesn't hit very hard. It's easy to counter, very easy to avoid, and we're going to stack a lot of damage over times and rely on Radiant Glory for our executes, more of a single target killer playstyle. And so this is the build and how the skills work. This will make more sense as we jump into gear. Power of the Light is your main bread and butter killing machine. It soaks up damage like a sponge. After 6 seconds, depending on how much damage you do, it hits very, very hard. You're trying to time all your burst around the explosion of Power of the Light and stunning the target so they cannot quickly react and break free and heal themselves to full. So Power of the Light is the centerpiece of this. The beam you put on them, you're going to soak up damage, try to nuke them. How you stun them is knocking them down with Binding Javelin. This is cost stamina, 22-meter range, and it cannot be blocked. That's the big thing. It does cost a hefty amount of stamina, but you're going to light a target up with Power of the Light, load them up with tons and tons of dots, and stun them right before Power of the Light goes off, so they can't react quickly and heal back up to full and then nuke them down. So how are you going to light them up on your front bar with dual wield is 1 damage over time, Rending Slash. Low cost stamina, lasts 20 seconds, it snares them, it applies the Hemorrhage status effect, which does tons of damage, which adds to our dot potential, along with bleed damage over 20 seconds, which can proc minor mangle, reducing their overall HP by 10%. So this is very good. It's going to kind of act like our main spam bowl in between weaving in heavy attacks, which are free and return stamina back to us. So I don't use biting jabs. I use rending slashes with Master's dual wield. Radiant Glory is going to be our execute. This thing hits so hard, it's gotten buffed dramatically, and you can start using it right around 40% HP or lower. You basically need to prioritize this at range or when you think the target's going to drop below 40% health or not. So as you launch off your burst combo, 1, 2, 3 stun, get ready to hit a Radiant Glory just because they're most likely going to fall in that 40% range and you're going to want to kill them instantly. Now for the ultimate of choice on the front bar, I'm going to go with Crescent Sweep. It's very low cost. I'm playing an Imperial, so you'll see that 68 ultimate cost, making it almost like another ability that we can use. It's going to do damage, it has a cast time, it's going to do it in front of us and hits very hard, and it's going to hit harder for enemies in front of us. So another reason we don't have to use biting jabs a lot is because we're going to have Crescent Sweep as a really nice bursting tool that we're going to combine with Power of the Light and a stun with a bunch of dots to kill our targets. Now, another ability up on our front bar is Living Dark. You can put this on the front, you can put this on the back, but this is absolutely God mode survivability. Last 12 seconds, it's going to heal you every half second, taking damage. It's going to scale very effectively. Putting this, Mara's Bomb, Restoring Light, you're getting 4,000 to 5,000 heals per second in PvP, just sitting there AFK eating a cheeseburger. Living Dark, one of the best survivability skills in the entirety of the Elder Scrolls Online. So that's our front bar, dual wield. We're going to run a mace and an axe or double maces. Now, on our back bar, we're going to have some obvious choices. We're going to use our armor buff, Restoring Focus, costs low stamina. It's going to generate some stamina for us. We can move out of it, but staying in it gives us a nice bit of healing. And for our major sorcery / major weapon damage, major brutality buff, we're going to use Degeneration. Low cost magic, has a very long duration, does a really good amount of dot pressure as well. But we're going to use this so we don't have to use 2H Rally. We don't have to use biting jabs, and we don't have to use potions. Also, we're going to run Mara's Bomb, so we're not going to run Extended Ritual Cleanse on our back bar as well, so it frees up some bar space and adds another dot to our kill potential. Next up is the bread and butter of this build and absolutely god mode, Elemental Susceptibility. 35 meter range, 30 seconds, gives major breach and 3 status effects. Burning, chilled, concussed. You're not going to have 100% uptime on those status effects, but they're going to rotate. All of those are vital for various different regions. Burning, hard-hitting dot, chilled, increased critical damage, and concussed, also very, very good, along with major breach. Power of the Light gives us minor breach, so we're going to be able to reduce armor while wearing only 3 pieces of medium armor, allowing us to hit hard with not a ton of weapon damage. Elemental Susceptibility gets even better with a Vatashram Ice Staff, which I'll show you in a little bit. Now we're going to run 2 heals. The number 1 heal you're going to run is Resolving Vigor, 5 seconds, cost stamina, does a bit of heal over time, but it gives minor resolve. So we're going to be able to have major and minor resolve with this build and really, really good healing. Also, you're going to have 1 stamina heal and then 1 burst magic heal, so you're going to piggyback off of both resource pools, which is why Imperial makes such a great addition. Honor the Dead, really good burst heal. 4,000 magic cost, so it costs a whopping amount, but you're primarily going to use it as an oh crap, I'm about 30% below HP, I need to pop back up. Downside of this, it can go to another target. When you're playing solo, completely solo, works just fine. When you're playing against a Zerg or you're in a Zerg, it might go to some random person off in the middle of nowhere. So typically I run a Resolving Vigor first and then spam Honor the Dead if I have magic. And then on the back bar, I'm going to keep on Temporal Guard from Psijic Order. This is a flex skill, but you're going to keep it on just for that minor protection. You're not going to rely on this for survivability a whole lot, and you can flex this out for some other skills. The reason I use Frost Staff, there's so many reasons why. It generates ultimate at range. You can get back magic by fully charged heavy attack. It can proc your enchant. You have Elemental Susceptibility. The downside of it is you don't have Resto Staff ultimate or another really good defensive ultimate to run. But the upsides outweigh the downsides. If you don't have Psijic Order, you can always go with Remembrance from Restoring Light. This is kind of a crappy ultimate because you stand still, so there is a channel time, you do get major protection. You're almost not going to die for 4 seconds, and it does a big, massive AoE healing. Downside is, you're not mobile, so you're probably going to die as soon as it's done, but it's better than nothing. And that's your bars. I'm going to explain the gear sets here because it'll make more sense in how you actually use it when you understand the gear. So gear sets, first one up, we're going to go with Mara's Bomb. This comes from Rewards of the Worthy. It's absolutely fantastic. Update 37, you're going to see a little bit of nerf in the healing so far, but I still highly recommend it. The reason why is you get healed every second you take negative effects, which you're constantly going to have negative effects. It's going to cleanse and give you a massive whopping burst heal. Plus, you can drop a cleansing ritual or extended ritual on your back bar for having this. I have this on at all times. So 2 jewelry pieces, 2 rings, and then 3 heavy spots on my body at all times. So I'm constantly getting heals. Combine that with Restoring Focus, Living Dark, and Resolving Vigor here and there, you're getting 4, 5, 6,000 heals per second, not even doing a burst heal. It's absolute god mode and it'll still work in the future. And if it doesn't, you can switch something to Pariah, which is a mitigation set, comes from Arsenian. People have been using it forever and it's still a great starter set, and you can buy it outright. Mars Bomb comes from the Words of the Worthy. Now, I'm going to combine that, so that's going to be a 5-piece that I'm going to run, and then I'm only going to run 1 5-piece, and I'm going to run a Mythic. Sea Serpent Coil, the Sweaty Spaghetti Mythic that a lot of people run. Why do you run this? It has the offensive potential of 2 5-pieces in a 1-piece, Major Berserk and Major Courage, plus it has a really high uptime as well. So this entire Mythic 1 piece is the equivalent of 2 5-pieces, allowing you to play very defensive, and then when this proc goes on the offensive. The downside is it snares you and that can get really annoying. But as a Templar, we have a range execute and we have a 22 meter stun. So it's not going to be an issue for us playing on this build or maybe a stamina sword. So you have a 5-piece, you have a Mythic. Now, what I would recommend is the Sash of the Trainee, 1 piece for maximum health, and then a Druid's Brace, another craftable set, 1 piece on the gloves or the belt, vice versa. Why? Because it'll give you so much more max stats, you can spec more heavily into stamina. Why stamina? Because you're going to need a dodge roll, sprint, break free a lot, so that's the resource we're going to stack. Now, Marsalok Monster Helm is up next. This is absolutely incredible for a dot build. Remember I talked about elemental susceptibility, rending, hemorrhage status effect, bleed, chilled, burning. Every single negative effect you have on a target increases the damage of this proc set, and it can occur every 10 seconds and scales off weapon or spell damage. It hits like an absolute jackhammer. It spews out blue, and it's supposed to be a melee heavy attack. that means a medium weep. Slightly holding down your attack button, your trigger, or your mouse, but not registering a fully charged heavy attack. Or you can fully charge heavy attack and act like a wallop, which is why I don't use biting jabs as a spammable. Heavy attacks paired with the Marshlock monster helm are fantastic. You don't have to use Marshlock, it is kind of a pain to get a hold of. You can use something like Bloodspawn, Engine Guardian, Balorgs, Malabeth, whatever you want, put that in the spot, but this will have the most kill potential, especially with all the dots that we have. So we have a 5-piece, we have 2 1-pieces, we have a monster helm, we have a mythic, and then we have master's weapons. So master's perfected mace, I run either 2 maces or a mace and an axe. This is going to allow our twin slashes or our rending slashes to do a lot more damage, plus give us a little bit more crit chance on our front. That bleed is going to hit very, very hard. Now, most people are running Mars Bomb as well, so you're going to have to basically reapply this frequently, but don't be afraid. You really want the hemorrhage status effect and the bleed to be proccing on them at all times. And now on the back bar, Vatashram Perfected Ice Staff. This is going to give pan on the back bar, which isn't that important. It's really the weakness to elemental susceptibility is going to apply a laser beam doing flame, shock, or frost damage every 1 second, and it's going to ramp up the damage. So this is why you're going to load up someone with dots, you're going to time that power of the light, boom, knock them down. All this is ticking on the Marshlock procs. It's absolutely deady spaghetti. And so I don't run 2 5-pieces, I run arena weapons, and that's what produces so much damage without over 6,000 to 7,000 weapon damage. Here's a TLDR gear chart of what I'm actually running. I like to run well-fitted trait, reinforce on the big 2 heavy spots, maximum stamina with prismatic glyphs in the big spots. I use spell damage enchants. That seems weird, it's actually not. Spell damage. The Templar specifically gets an increase to spell damage via a passive in Dawn's Wrath called Illuminate. So, with a hybridization of stats, running spell damage produces even better results on a stamplar. Seems weird, it actually works. Math. Also, Bloodthirsty is going to be a trait that's going to get a massive buff in update 37. I don't have the transmutes on my jewelry to change it, but if you want the most damage possible, go with Bloodthirsty. It will do an amazing amount of damage, especially during execute with their Radiant Glory beam spam. We've already gone over the skills, we got over the gear. Let me show you how to use this really quick, okay? So anytime in PvP, you always want to be cycling your buffs, meaning if you're not doing anything else, get your buffs up. That means restoring focus, resolving vigor, and living dark. Those can always be applied regardless if you have a target or not. Once you start approaching a target, you're going to start in your back bar with your frost staff. You're going to hit generation to get your spell damage buff up. You're going to close the distance. You're going to hit the laser beam there. That's the Vatashram laser beam, okay? Look at all those status effects at the top of the bar, just sitting AFK. Look at that. Now, you're going to bar swap quickly as soon as you apply that. You're going to put Power of the Light on them, and then Rending Slash. Look at all those status effects up there. As the Power of the Light gets low is when you're going to need to time everything. You're trying to time a fully charged heavy attack, a crescent, along with stunning them right at the same time in a very, very short window. So let's show you how this looks a little bit quicker speed. Get my Living Dark up. I'm closing the distance. Power of the Light, Rending Slash. Hit this, and then boom, Marshlock. Now Power of the Light goes boom, and then Radiant Glory, assume they're about to die. So if you have Power of the Light on, you have Rending Slash, you have your laser beam with Vatashram Hollows. Look at all those dots ticking. When you stun them, if Power of the Light and Crescent Sweep hit at the same time, they're going to be so low, and they're not going to be able to react that fast to break free and heal themselves most likely, and you're going to be throttling down on a Radiant Glory to nuke them anyways. And that's how you absolutely blast someone as a Templar. No biting jabs needed. Okay, let's pop into champion points. As an add-on, I have dynamic CP. What I take in the blue tree is focus mending, because I like the healing. I love to be tanky and not die. Ironclad, best damage reduction CP slottable in the blue tree. Thaumaturge, since I'm using a ton of damage over time effects, and Master of Arms, just a general damage slottable. I'm not running a lot of critical, so I'm not running fighting finesse. I'm not doing a lot of bombs, so I'm not running a Culta Overload, though you can if you're fighting big, huge groups. Usually I'm off solo. That's the blue tree. Moving over to the red, I like to run Balanced Vitality because a bit of health is really nice. I like to take Survival Instincts, so when you have a status effect on you, your core combat abilities cost 25% less. That makes everything that costs a lot of stamina very free and very easy. Pain's Refuge. Though we're running Mars Bomb, though we're going to get cleansed once in a while, it still helps because you're going to constantly have 4, 5, 6, 10 status effects on you. Mars Bomb's not going to always proc, and this is going to ramp up your damage reduction. And then Celerity, I am running Sea Serpent's Coil. That's quite annoying. So having that on is really useful. If you're new to PvP or you play in lag servers, take Slippery instead of Boundless Vitality. This will give you an automatic break free every 21 seconds, especially on lag. This will save your life. Do not sleep on this CP. Touching on the last little bit of things, I like to go over 30,000 health. So attributes, really I would start with 32 to 33,000 health. If you're new to Cyrodiil and or Battlegrounds, I'm running an Imperial, so I have a lot of stamina, a lot of health. Also, as far as my stats go, when I'm fully buffed, I'm right around 6,000 spell damage with my penetration coming from Major and Minor Breach. But come down here, I'm running the Apprentice Mundus Stone, which seems goofy, but I'm running spell damage enchants because I have a 10% bonus to that, and Smoked Bear Haunch is my food. You can run Tri-Restoration Potions, Tri-Stat, and also if you want a little bit more damage on Weapon Critical Potions, you're going to sacrifice a lot of magic recovery. This loadout is the too long didn't read loadout. Here it is. The skills, the gear, the champion points, everything you need to take this in Cyrodiil, Battlegrounds, Imperial City. It works in everywhere. And in fact, you can take this exact same build, 3 medium, 3 heavy, 1 light, and run pretty much the exact same loadout, plus or minus the skills, on any single class in PvP. Stacking stamina, using a bit of magic for healing, relying on the master's weapons in 1 5-piece, and it's going to work a long time in the future. If you got something out of this video, make sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment below. What are you using in PvP? Why is it effective? And are you excited about the next class coming to Elder Scrolls Online? The Arcanist. You know it's going to be overpowered, and we're going to see what we're going to do in PvP with it. Thanks for watching.